I was reading in Genesis 18 where the Lord came to Abraham and said to him, I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah, your wife, will have a son. This is incredible because for God to speak, notice he's not speaking a specific time. He's saying a roundabout time, or around this time next year, I will return to you. And notice he's not saying she will be in the process of having the son. No, he's saying around this time next year, you will have that thing that you are desiring to have. There's always this maturation process that happens. I mean, nobody wants to get pregnant and then have the baby. No, the time in between is important. That is the preparation time. And so it's almost like the Lord is saying, surely I'm going to return to you about this time next year, and you will have that thing that you've been asking for. You're not going to be in the preparation time for it around this time next year. He's saying, no, the preparation time for it is now. It reminds me of the scripture in Song of Solomon 8 where he says, daughters of Jerusalem, don't awaken love until it's time, because God already has the time set. And again, it's not the time to then be preparing for it. He's saying, don't awaken love until it's time. Don't awaken love right now. This is the time for you to be preparing for love, because surely about this time next year, surely there is an appointed time already set for you to have this thing. Now, there is a significance to this advice, or even warning about not awakening love until it's time. There's a significance as to why this is being said to the daughters of Jerusalem. It's almost like God is saying, whichever daughter of Jerusalem you choose to be will determine not only how you get the promise, but also whether it happens in the timing that I have already ordained. Because notice the wait time that God gave to them. You know, he said about this time next year. Imagine having the full manifestation of your promise about this time next year. That's not a delay. Again, that is preparation time. It's like the Lord is giving you a head start. Like, hey, at this time, you know, around about this time is going to happen. So during this time right now, I'm giving you a head start so you can be ready for the appointed time. And it's almost like the daughters of Jerusalem receive the same blessing that the Lord was speaking to Sarah, where God has already designated a time, again, not to prepare for it. There is a time of preparation, and that time is now, hence why it's being said, hey, don't awaken love right now. That's not the time for that. There was an appointed time about this time next year, Esther. You're going to be with the king. Okay? And so what do you do during this time? You prepare for about that time, about this time that's coming, about 12 months or so after the preparation, you're going to be in a position to be chosen. And so it's like the Lord is saying, hey, you don't have to worry about waking them up. You need to focus on being prepared for when I wake them up. And this again is being told to the daughters of Jerusalem. Now, I want to show you how this corresponds to Sarah, and how which daughter of Jerusalem you choose to be will determine how quickly you will receive your promise. Paul explains in Galatians 4 that Abraham had two sons, symbolically meaning he produced two different things. So basically this is saying to you that the birthing of what you desire can happen one of two ways. The first way is the slave way, where you are working in your own flesh, slaving for a result in your own strength. Paul goes on in verse 24 to explain what is currently taking place for who? The daughters of Jerusalem, and that this corresponds to the present city of Jerusalem, where figuratively speaking, Mother Hagar is in slavery with her children. So this is the present state of most of the daughters of Jerusalem. They are slaving to get the promise. Then he says that the Jerusalem above is free, and she is our mother. And those daughters of Jerusalem above receive their Isaac as a result of divine promise, not as a result of, manipulative works. No, these daughters of Jerusalem are not trying to awaken love during the time where they're supposed to be preparing for love. No, these are the daughters of Jerusalem that understand that there is a divine promise. There is a divine assignment that is attached to this partnership, to this connection, and it is going to happen not in their strength, but in God's strength. It's going to happen because it's already been written. Esther didn't know for sure that she would be the one picked, but she sure prepared for it like she was the only option, because she knew an appointed time was coming. And likewise, you have to know that there is a time set. And what if it's this time next year? Okay, and not again this time next year where you're going to then be, okay, well, let me try to get ready. No. This time next year, you are going to have that promise. You are going to be right in the thick of that thing. And so, are you ready for this time next year? Are you ready to go before the king right now? No, but God is desiring for you to not only be ready when the time comes, but for you to be prepared. And this is your preparation time, not the time to be trying to make it happen and awaken it yourself. Because you see, when you are a present day daughter of Jerusalem, you are trying to awaken love. You're trying to get this man to see you. You're trying to be found. You're trying to get this man to see your worth and value and why he should choose you, and so on and so forth. Esther did not have to do a whole PowerPoint presentation of why King Xerxes should pick her. No, because God awakens the love in that man for you at the appointed time. God is the one awakening the heart, and God is the one hardening or keeping that heart closed. Notice even in the scripture how it says that God hardened Pharaoh's heart, that his heart was not open, and it was the Lord's doing. And so this is the time for you to be preparing like you know the date is coming. And so this second way, this way that these daughters of Jerusalem do it, the way that you want to do it, is to freely experience the birthing of what you're waiting for, simply because it's already been spoken, simply because it's already been written. Notice God tells them the plan, and Sarah laughs. She questions, she doubts. But see, God was serious about what was going to happen, and he was serious about the timing of that thing. You see, he knew the plan for Sarah the same way he knows the plans for you. And what's interesting even about that scripture in Jeremiah is that God mentions time again. He says, unto the expected end. You are dealing with a God who holds time. You are dealing with a God who is outside of time. You are dealing with a God that declares the end of a thing at the beginning of it. You are dealing with a God that has already declared the time for you. And so you don't need to try to do anything before it's time or in your own strength, but rather let God's strength be perfect in your weakness, in your apparent inability to do it yourself, okay? Why keep trying to do something when it's already been done for you? God has already accomplished this win for you. And this win is going to happen as a result of divine promise. And so instead of trying to be the daughter of Jerusalem that is trying to awaken love, perhaps get real serious about preparing for it with the daughter of Jerusalem mindset that not only is it already here, but the time to have it has already been set for it. The date is already coming. Esther wasn't a pick-me daughter. She was a prepared daughter. And you don't have to be a pick me either. No, you are called to be the daughter of Jerusalem that is picked at the appointed time because of divine promise.